Why are we kind? And I want you all to imagine you're at home, you're in your neighborhood, and it's just filled with acts of kindness. Now take that image and expand it out to your city, and the ripples of kindness are starting to form. And expand it out into your state, and then the neighboring states, and each state ripples are starting to form. And those ripples merge together and create a wave of kindness that washes across the country. Beautiful, isn't it? God told us in Ephesians 4:32, be kind and compassionate to each other. But are we really creating those ripples of kindness? If you were in a restaurant, have you ever seen someone being rude to their server? You're in the airport. A lot of you flew here today. In an airport, the flight has been delayed. And there's that one person that stomps up slams their hands on the counter and gives grief to the flight attendants. But this is one of my favorites. You're driving down I-10. Driver A cuts off driver B. What does driver B do? First thing he does is start honking that horn, and his hands are flying, and his mouth is going, and you know he is not telling driver A to have a nice day. So are we being kind? There are countless ways to be kind, and today I want to share a few techniques to help you be kind in those difficult, sometimes awkward situations. I was recently walking my dog Noelle in the park, and a woman asked me if she could pet Noelle, and I said sure. Well, there were steps, so she proceeds to sit down, and Noelle, being Noelle, just hopped into her lap like I'm getting attention, and she just started petting her. And then the next thing you know, there's a tear coming down her face. And she continues to pet Noelle, and she starts to speak. I lost my husband of 43 years 6 months ago. I lost my beloved dog 3 weeks ago. And she just continued to tell her story, and I sat there on the steps with her and just listened. When she was finished, she wiped the tears from her face, got up, gave me a hug, and said, "Thank you for sharing your dog with me." Now, I had no idea what that woman was going through. Personal pain is as unique as a fingerprint. You never know what someone is going through, so be kind. Always, always be kind. Another day, I was having lunch with a friend of mine in this neighborhood cafe, and it was a little busy. It was busy, and the server comes up to us and says, "What do you want?" And we're like, "Well, we had a couple questions." "I don't have any answers. I was told to come over here and take your order. I'm doing it. What do you want?" So my friend and I looked at each other, praying for the best. We placed our order. And mind you, our interactions from there were few. She really didn't come back to the table. Whenever she did, she was rude. At the end of the meal, we're paying the check. On her receipt, I wrote, "You are designed to shine," and put a little happy face, and put my tip, and my friend and I stroll on out. Well, would you believe she ran after us into the parking lot. And she said to me, "Thank you. I needed to hear that today." It was just a few simple, kind words. It changed her entire day. That's why I love giving compliments. I throw them around like confetti. "You did a great job. That report was amazing. Love those shoes." It's really hard for someone to continue to be nasty and rude when you're telling them how wonderful they are. Humor. How many people have used humor to ease a tense situation? Humor is a powerful tool. Use it. If you have the gift to rattle off one-liners, go for it. I do have a one-liner I keep in my hip pocket. It may not be funny, but it's definitely startling. I volunteer at a home for women who are facing unplanned pregnancies. And one day I walked in there and 2 girls were just going at it, seconds away from the full-blown cat fight. So I get up there, and as loud as I possibly could to be heard, "Someone is letting the devil win today." And they stopped. And then they looked, and they're like, "Okay, the crazy volunteer is here." But they stopped, and we were able then to sit down, find out what the issue was, and resolve it. Another thing that you can do is use of props. I use my red clown nose. And I did use this in a road rage situation. I was on an exit ramp, and there was a car ahead of me. I have no idea, just clarifying, I have no idea what I did. But he was out of his car, and he's running for my car, and he's doing this number. No clue. I had the nose sitting in my console, so I put it on and just smiled and waved through the windshield. He froze. He couldn't wait to get back to his car fast enough. And I always wonder what he told people about the crazy lady with the red nose. This is also a great prop if your kids are fighting. And it's easy to get in, most of the time it's easy, to get in between kids who are fighting. And you can do one of these and one of these. And if it's my kids, they're rolling their eyes. Or they're laughing. But the idea is they stopped. You can find out what the issue is and resolve it. W.C. Fields said, "Just because you're invited to an argument doesn't mean you have to attend." Let that sink in for just a minute. How many times have you been sucked into an argument without even thinking about it? If that happens, you can say things like, "That's interesting. Thank you for your opinion. I'll give it some thought." Those simple phrases can end a conversation cleanly. Again, you can move on. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, this all sounds great, good, but can we really make a change? Can we really make a difference? Yes, resounding yes. There are studies that show if you and you share an act of kindness, your serotonin levels go up. From one act of kindness, we have 2 happy people. And for those that don't know, serotonin is your happy hormones. So from one act of kindness, we've created 2 happy people. But do you know what the really fascinating thing is? Anyone who witnessed that act of kindness, your serotonin levels also went up. So right here in our corner, we have got one big ripple of kindness going on. When I started, I asked you to imagine this country flooded with a ripple of kindness. I firmly believe that together, we can make a change, make a difference, one ripple of kindness at a time. How are you going to create a ripple today?